definitely need your own survey. This is from one of my title companies. She was sweet enough to send that over to me, so I certainly blacked out their names. This is an authorization form. You mentioned on that, Chris, that the title companies, that you're gonna pay for the survey. And this is basically what this is, the title insurance company to order survey of the above referred property on our behalf. And we direct you to order the survey from, and they will leave a blank there. This is something that they send to our buyers, and it's usually through a DocuSign. So this is not a required field to put here, it's just required to sign this. If the preceding line is left blank, the title company may select a survey company shown on the attached list. What I have found is in our area, survey 1 has been listed first, so that's always fantastic. Inclusion on the list or selection of any surveyor does not constitute a sponsorship, recommendation, approval, or presentation of or with respect to any surveyor survey performs. Here's the part: no insurance coverage will be provided with respect to any survey except as expressly provided to the insured in any policy of title insurance that may be issued. And that basically states that if you're closing at First American Title, if you're closing at Chicago Title, whatever title company that you're closing at, for them to insure this for you, because this is for their insurance, they need to be listed here. This needs to be provided to them. Why a homeowner may need a new or updated survey would be changes to the property and its structures, additions made to the property such as your generators, your pool, your fence lines, and any transfer of property. Again, if it's a cash deal, no survey is required. That's crazy, isn't it? But your lenders are gonna require, if you're financing this, your lenders are gonna require for it to be surveyed. And again, on this, we do have the title company, that's who it is provided to. And we're gonna go over number 3 again. It says this survey is certified to the title insurance company listed above for this transaction. It is made for them to get this through the closing table. It is not transferable to additional institutions or subsequent owners. So what does that mean? That means 2 things. And again, the reason why I never choose number 1 is because whenever an agent certainly does provide the survey and the T47, something I'm gonna go and look at anyways is that the seller of the property, or was this the buyer who just took it as is and said, oh yeah, I have an existing survey from 2 transactions ago. Well, really, if you read it, it's kind of void right there, because it says it's only good for 1 transaction only, and that's just to go through the title company. Not only that, and identifying your boundaries, but let's just say, especially in our rural areas, we've certainly had lots of fence lines down with burl. Might not be the biggest issue whenever you're looking at subdivision, but when you're looking at rural areas, and I'm like, hey, my neighbor's selling their property, the fence line just went down. I tend to like that tree over there. It's about another 10 foot over. We both have 5 acres of land. I'm gonna move my fence line over. This happens, it happens a lot. Especially since in the state of Texas, we have adverse possession. That fence line sits there for 7 to 10 years and I can prove that I've been mowing it for that time. Guess what? That's my land, that's my property. So we don't wanna see that happen. So whenever a buyer comes in and they go, all of a sudden they wanna go and walk their fence line with that T47 and that pre-existing survey, and they realize, I think I still have about this much more of land, I think that's my land, and so they get really peed off, and they go over to their neighbors waving that survey in the air, and you're encroaching my property. Y'all, they are blank sheet of paper with red crayon on it, because their name is not on there. There is no legality that is held to this, because they need to obtain their own survey. So now guess what they're gonna do? As an agent, if we said that, hey, the title company will handle that, that means we did not educate them and provide them knowledge and guide them the right way that we should have. They're gonna be some pretty peed off people. And they're gonna come back to you, they're gonna come back to the brokerage, they're gonna come back to the title company, and 2 things. 1, title company's gonna be like, hey, T47 kind of accepted this as is, we just needed this for closing. There is no insurance. And then there's gonna be some lawsuits and they're gonna connect with you, because some things are gonna be messed up at that time. So again, it is always the wisest thing to have your buyers obtain a new survey at all times. And I'm gonna put this out there as well, because I did have another agent message me maybe just a few weeks ago, and she's like, hey, I think we need a new survey. This is a smaller, older home seller, is very restricted. It's very restricted. And I was like, look, you know, this is always negotiable. Do you have to have a survey? You know, doing the due diligence? No, if they don't have a survey, don't push her to get a survey, because if this is not in a contract, in an executed contract, she's gonna have to pay for this upfront and out of pocket. I don't want her to be upfront and out of pocket as your seller. So wait until an offer is put in, and then that agent's gonna pick 1, 2, or 3. Then y'all can start negotiating this, because the buyer can say, hey, you know what? We're gonna make a good deal. I might even offer you $500 less, but hey, no worries. I'm gonna take care of that survey expense. So your seller doesn't have to come out of pocket whatsoever. No harm done there. Or if it's an option, seller can pay half, buyer can pay half. We have different ways of negotiating this deal. But whichever way, a new survey is needed.